You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
She is sure, she is sure, she is strong, she is strong, she is true, she is true. She is brave, she is brave, she is bold, she is bold, she is you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Word of Mom Radio here on the Word of Mom Media Network. I'm your host, Dori DeCarlo, and you know we are here week after week, show after show, breaking those myths that mompreneurs and businesswomen, especially those of us building our businesses from home, that we're just dabbling in between bake sales and getting our nails done. We're not. We are smart, we are savvy, and we are sharing the wisdom of women in business and in life. And I'm looking forward to bringing today's guest into our Mompreneur model show. Maggie Clancy didn't start with entrepreneurship in mind. With a Bachelor of Science in biology, she initially pursued medicine. But managing horses ignited a love for business that shifted her career. Over 2 decades, Maggie has led Strides Riding Academy through economic, environmental, and pandemic challenges while gaining invaluable lessons in resilience and adaptability. Today, Maggie shares these insights with aspiring equestrian business owners, embracing each twist and turn with passion and purpose. I grew up in a horse riding family, so I am so excited to be sharing Maggie today. So welcome to Word of Mom Radio.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I'm thrilled to have you here, and I would love for you to take us on your journey to go from, thinking you're going to go to study medicine to becoming an equestrian. I love it, and I can't wait to hear this journey, Maggie.
Oh, perfect. Well, it was totally unplanned and unexpected. But when I look at back at it now, 20 years later, all the pieces were in place to take me there. I just had to listen and pay attention. I planned on going to medical school so I could afford to keep riding. Mostly that was really my motivation. I loved horses. I rode as a kid. I rode in college, and I just wanted to figure out how to keep them in my life. I won't get too detailed, but basically the first time I bombed the MCAT to get into medical school. So I had to wait a whole nother year to take it. And during that year, I started what's called catch riding. So, Dori would call me up, for example, and say, my horse is bucking and being naughty and I need you to fix it. And so I'd be like, okay, great. I have time. I'll hop on your horse and fix it. So by the time I applied again to medical school, I had sort of naturally built up a business that was just supposed to fill my time until I went to medical school. As it laid out, I sort of had this moment, why in the world, if I get to do what I love and people are actually paying for me to get groceries, would I not take that opportunity? And so luckily I did. And it's now been, we're right at 20 years now. And it's been great. It's been amazing. It's been hard. It's been all the things. And here we are.
I love that. It's so funny because quite often, if you are open to listening to the universe, it points you where you should be. And so good for you that you followed the journey. And so as a mom, how did you manage, especially younger kids in the beginning, had to be really difficult because
Totally.
horses, the gentle creatures that they are, they're gigantic creatures still. So I would love to know how you handled the scheduling of building your business, being a mom, running all over the place. Let it go.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely having kids it changed everything in the business. So up until that point, it was me. I did all the work. I showed up. I rode all the horses. That was really the business. So it was more like a job I had built for myself to work a lot of hours. Once kids came along, being a mom was always a huge priority on my list. Like that was always something I wanted to do in life. And I'm so lucky. And I have two great kids. So it really forced or encouraged, I'm not sure which word to use, probably forced me to look at the business and figure out how I could show up for the kids and still keep growing the business. When my daughter's now 9. So when she was 6 months old is when we actually bought our property. And it was so funny because my husband was like, oh, it'll be so great. You can run the business and be home with the kids all the time. So that was how it all started, right? And then we bought a 20-acre property, which had over 80 horses on it. And I had a tiny kid. So the reality of the first couple of years was not exactly that. But it forced me to build a business that could run a little bit on its own. And so now I can pick and choose what days I show up. I can take vacation on the days I want. I can show up at the school events because I really had to build up the business to run in a very solid way so I could come and go. So, yeah.
And what have you learned about parenting and running a business? I mean, there's those ebbs and flows that happen. And it's funny because very often, especially women who've been full-time moms and then going back to work, feel like, oh, I don't have that many skills. So how have you incorporated all of those business skills, mom skills, and everything else?
Yes, just being a parent, being a parent, I feel like gives you so many more skills than you ever thought you would have or need. And so many of them are just learned in the moment. I mean, I was one of the moms that like bought all the things hoping it would fix, I bought all the sleep things hoping everyone would sleep, and I bought all the this. And now I look back and I'm like, I just sort of had to go through it and figure out how to do it. And then it started to get easier and easier and easier. So all of the skills, like the process of negotiation that is applied with children and in business, working through challenges and being in the moment, I think is the biggest one. So if I am, fires start hitting at work and I'm looking at my phone, immediately everything will blow up at home, like guaranteed. Kids will start fighting, things will be like, it will just be a hot mess. So forcing myself to be at home more and at work more and let those lines be less blurry is huge. Yeah. And the negotiation one, like, how do you do sales? How do you talk to a person you don't know and convince them of X, Y, and Z is similar to teaching a 2-year-old to go do something that they don't necessarily want to do. So a lot of those skills can apply to many different scenarios.
It's amazing, isn't it? You have scheduling,
Totally.
conflict resolution, budgeting, time management, all of these different delegations.
Yes.
When do you start delegating things to the kids to do? When do you start delegating things to your employees? It's amazing. But it's funny, Maggie, because quite often women don't give themselves credit for the on-the-job training that being a mom. I always think back, a friend of mine had a cartoon on her refrigerator, and it was a woman sitting at a desk. The inbox is piled about 3 feet high, stuff everywhere. And she's talking to this other woman saying, can't tell you how relaxing it is to come back to work after raising 3 kids. Because again, it is. It's
Totally.
like sometimes the insanity of work is so calming.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. And the juggling, like, I feel like becoming a mom, you have this mastered art of being able to juggle more things than most people think they're capable of, and keep all the balls in the air. And so that is definitely learned at home and then applied at work for me.
It's funny because very often, you know how they talk about that work-life balance. And I say it all the time. It's like balance, forget it. It is a juggling act. And how do you keep all the balls in the air at the same time? And then you're throwing them around your back and up and over your shoulder because
Totally.
let's face it, moms know how to think on their feet.
Yep.
We really do. And when it comes to business, especially, you know, most people, hey, a kid cameo. We've got a kid cameo going on right now.
Yeah. Casey's homesick from school today. So
Hi, sweetheart. Nice to see you. You know, being Word of Mom Radio, we love kid cameo.
okay,
We
good.
really do. So it's never, my grandson every once in a while would be with me and he'd come in and he'd want to ask a question. I'm like, God, because he was listening.
This is real life happening. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he was, 4, wanting to come in. But, and this again, this is the joy of motherhood. This is what is wonderful about building a business, raising a family. Your daughter's homesick. Guess what? Life gets to shift.
Yep. Totally.
And that's the difference between working in your business and on your business. When you are so totally enmeshed in it, then something like this happens and everything has to come to a halt.
Yep.
As opposed to where you have yourself in working on your business. So that's how we work through all of those things. And, with your daughter home, what are some of the lessons and the biggest lessons you really hope that you are teaching and modeling for your kids?
These days, it's sort of having the passion and confidence to follow your heart. I think that there's so much external influence. I mean, there always has been, but it seems like it's greater, in my opinion, these days. So much external influence on what you should do and what's right and what's wrong and follow this path and only do this and only wear that. And having that confident, like that inner confidence and passion to say, no, this is really what I want to do and what I was born to do. And I'm going to figure out a way how to make it work. Would be the most amazing gift to pass on. So hopefully I can sort out how to pass that on. But I was lucky enough. It's funny, my dad always said, do what you love and the money will follow. And that sounds like such flippant advice. Like, yeah, right. We all need to actually pay bills. It sounds not, but if you hold that and really stick to it, it is possible to do what you love and make a living, and like your life. So
you know what? You can. And it's funny. I was just talking about it. So often we go into that scarcity mentality of starting to worry about, oh, this bill is coming in, this client just dropped off and things like that. And I constantly reinforce for myself and people that I work with that living in that scarcity mentality creates scarcity. Yeah. You have to trust that you are doing what you have to do. Trust it. Do what you love. The money will come. So I completely agree with that. And I know for some people that's just like, yeah, okay.
You're nuts.
Right. And that's where I say to people, then get a job.
Yeah, totally.
If you can't get yourself out of that scarcity mentality, make sure you have a job where you have a guaranteed paycheck.
Yep.
And let somebody else sweat it.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, and having that, it's funny, the horses taught me so much grit and resilience, just literally from riding them, and falling off and getting back on the horse, as they say. And having some of that you can carry into running your own business. So, we all have hard days, we all have hard months, we all have hard years, but knowing, okay, I will get to the other side of this and I will keep forging forward, and having a network around you that reminds you when you're like, oh, I don't know, is this going to happen? Having people who are like, yeah, it is, get up, go do it, is so important.
On that note, think of what Maggie just said, because you know what? That support system is huge. We're going to take a quick break, say thank you to our sponsors, and we'll be back here in just a moment on Word of Mom Radio. She is brave, she is bold, she is you, and we want to tell your story. Are you ready to share your journey with us on Word of Mom Radio? Go to wordofmomradio.com and register as a guest. We want to tell your story because when you win, we all win. And we're back here with Maggie Clancy. We are talking about her journey in creating Strides Riding Academy. And it's just such an interesting journey to me. And again, you know, I watched my aunt at 80 years old, reining 65 horses and knowing every single horse, just able to go in and everything that she needed, never had to look at a thing. And it was an amazing thing to me because you know how quick a horse can colic, how fast that magnificent animal can drop like that if you don't know what you're doing. How have you managed dealing with all of that? Because again, there's such magnificent animals and people I don't think are aware how delicate they really are.
It's really funny because they are, and they represent power and beauty and all of this, but they are like fragile flowers. A lot of that is personality based, I've discovered. So there are certain horses, like I bought my first horse when I was 16 and I got a job cleaning stalls so I could pay for her, and had her up until 3 years ago. So she was around for isn't that crazy? All of the phases of my life that I have been through from those ages.
You have unread texts from Golf Buds. Would you like me to read them?
Yes.
Okay. Johnny says, what are the nicotine pouches you had on the course? Walker says, 8 milligram on nicotine pouches. Billy says, I love the mint one.
I like that one.
Walker says, me too. By the way, you both stink at golf. LOLOL.
Come on. Carry on nicotine pouches. Shop now at onnicotine.com/group text. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
And man, she was like tough as nails. She was a horse that never complained. She was worked every day of her life, got up every day, and she just had that personality until the very end. And then I had another horse, Leo, who instead of that, the clouds would come in and he'd need to see the vet. So kind of had this very, very frail, constantly went to the vet hospital, was always delicate. So there's these different personalities, I feel like, in the horse, similar to people. There's these people that are just tough as nails, and there's other sides of that. So kind of getting to know their personalities and working around that and thinking preemptively, what is going to happen? What are they going to need? How can I make their environment such that they will succeed is super, super important. And similar with people, how can I set them up for success? And how can I form the environment around them so that the fragile flowers do not fall apart? And how can I support the ones that are really tough and never act like they need help? So yeah, I psychoanalyze my horses a lot, at least. And
but you know what? They really have their own personalities. You have some that love kids, love people,
yes.
And you have those other horses that love their own.
Yep.
And that's kind of it. And they don't want to be around other people. I remember my aunt bringing in this horse one time, Romeo. Biggest horse I ever saw. He was enormous, and the most beautiful. Romeo was the perfect name because he was a complete lover. If you got close enough to that horse would push his head against you just to hug you. And I would bring my daughter, and she was little at the time. He adored children.
Aww.
It was amazing. So he would crane his neck out of his stall just to get it down low enough for her to pet him. And he'd lick and he'd eat out of her hand. He was the most gentle horse you ever saw. But when I tell you, you looked at that horse and he was enormous. And again, they're just wonderful animals. They really are. But now I want to go into building the business and the time it takes, especially with young kids. How'd you deal with the mom guilt part of it?
Not well in the beginning. Not well in the beginning, because I always felt bad and like I was in two places, trying to be in two places at once, but not doing that successfully. So always feeling like you're in two places at once and sort of short short ending both, never feeling like you're giving your all to anything. And it took a long time. And I think where I've come to is I have this great gift to show my kids that you can actually do what you love, build a life, and have a life that you love. And so I look at it that way now. When they're little, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, are we going to make it to tomorrow? Essentially. And now I'm like, look at it, if you want and if you choose, you can grow up and follow your heart and build a great life. So now it seems like more a gift, but they're older, right? When kids are like 1 and 3, 2 and 4, diapers, late nights, I had a different perspective. Now it's a little more well-rounded.
Well, but it's amazing how fast it goes.
Yeah,
it really
totally.
is. And it's funny because with each stage comes the challenges. And you think back, when you're in the thick of it with a baby and everything else, oh, there's just so much. And then you look back and it's like, and that was the easy part.
Right. Right. I have one of my longest time employees. Her daughter is graduating from college right now. And so it's funny. Sorry, I'm moving my computer. It's funny because she's talking about parenting an adult, and she's like, oh, and that's like, I never even thought that was a thing. And now I have to figure out how to parent an adult. So I'm not there yet, but I will be there eventually.
Well, it's an interesting thing. My kids, it catches in my throat when I think how old they are. I mean, I have grandchildren now. And the job of mom is that full-time occupation. And you're not there to be their friend. You're there to be, you want them to talk to you and everything else. But there's that fine line of being a parent. And where does that line go? Where can, my son at this point is, a dad. Just turned 37. I can't believe it. And well, every once in a while, let out a cut. And I'm like, hey, don't talk like that around me. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm still your mom. He said, yeah, you're right. You're right. I said, sometimes curses fly, but not when you're talking to me, conversationally. We had an argument one time and I walked out and I came back and I said, I texted him. I said to you once, I am your mom. Nobody's going to love you like me. I will respect you, stand by your choices, even if it's not the choice I wanted to see you to make. Don't confuse me with a friend. I'm not your friend.
I love that.
As they become adults, then that friendship, I really feel if you have that solid parent foundation, the friendship naturally happens. But then there are those moments where that mom thing steps in. And sometimes they need that. Yeah. They need to, it's like, mom, I just need you to be a mom right now. It's like, yeah, you got it. And it's amazing because no matter how old they get, I can still close my eyes and I see my son sleeping sometimes. And it's like, Dad, there's the baby. You just, it's those things. And it never changes. It's kind of interesting. So to the moms that are listening, Maggie, what do you want to say to them that are feeling so overwhelmed and exhausted with the thought of trying to balance a business and everything else? What do you want to say?
Well, first, which is not really tangible, it is totally possible. It seems impossible and like a wall that you can't get yourself over, but it is totally possible. And the biggest lesson I learned, I was the kid that needed no help for anything. When I was younger and wanted to go to the barn and I didn't have a ride, I would hop on my bike and bike to the barn because I was like, fine, I'm doing it myself, that person. And then I became a mom with a business and I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing it by myself. So finding whatever key people are around you and support you and have your back no matter what. I have one lady who has been working with me, I think it's 13 years now, right? So like right when I got married, before I had kids, she's still with me. She is amazing. And I know that no matter what happens, at the end of the day, she'd always have my back and like would jump off a cliff for me. I would obviously never ask anyone to do that, but finding one or two, like key people in your world that you're like, okay, you are my person and you have my back no matter what. And when everything hits the fan, I can call you and you will lift me up. And that's so funny for me to say, because I literally was like, I need nobody in life. I don't need anybody ever. And I've learned that that is in fact not true. I do need people.
And having those people that can talk you off the ledge, having those people that can hold you accountable, or just that tribe that knows your pain because they're feeling it themselves.
Yeah.
But they know that it's kind of funny. It's how Word of Mom started. Word of Mom Radio was a place for people to come to learn how to do stuff and follow other people's roadmaps. And, you know, we had our how-to shows, you know, literally go to this icon, drop this down, all of these different things, because no man is an island. And as women, finding other women that are going to support us and encourage us and everything else is so important, because as moms, we've got a very unique perspective in raising a family, building a business, and making it all work. And you are obviously doing such a great job of it. You really are. And good for you. And good for you that you're working with other equestrians in helping them with their businesses. See, I think that to me is what I really identify with you, because quite often, especially women, we fall into the, oh, I can't help you because what if they like you more than me? What if you're going to steal my boyfriend? And the reality is you can't watch everybody's horse.
Right.
There are not enough equestrian, there are not enough places in this country, in just in your area, that can handle all the horses that need to be handled. So the fact that you're teaching people how, good for you. Really.
Thank you.
You are very
my favorite part about my business, and it's funny because it, like, the horses are sort of the vehicle, but my favorite part is watching people feel empowered to do something that makes them uncomfortable. You know, like reaching just outside your comfort zone, or grasping for something that you really, really want to do, but you've never quite had someone be like, yeah, go get it. And so it always comes out, you know, I spent most of my years teaching the teenagers more. They were just the group that I ended up teaching all the time. And so it was always watching them go from like, oh, I don't really know. I don't really know if I can do that, to like, oh my gosh, I did it. And so almost any avenue in life that I can do that, I love doing it. So yeah, helping others with their business, helping kids learn how to ride horses, helping adults try something that they never thought they could do and be successful. All of that is just, it's so uplifting to me and hopefully everybody else.
What a great way to wrap up this conversation. As we're closing out, Maggie, what do you want to leave our listeners with, and how may they reach out to you?
I would like to leave your listeners with the thought that if they have something that they really, really want to do, whatever it is, what's one step that they can take to do it? And what's the date of that one step that they can take to do it? So that everything starts with just one little baby step. And so finding that baby step that you can accomplish and you can do is the great way to start. And then to find me, mostly I'm on Facebook and social media. My name's Maggie K. Clancy. You can find me there. We have a website also, which is stridesridingacademy.com. So you can get in touch with me that way if you like. And thank you so much for this opportunity. And for Casey being here too while she's homesick from school. Welcome to Real Mom Life.
You know what? And I absolutely love it. I'm waving to her right now because she's in the background. She's so cute. And again, that to me is what I love the most about Word of Mom Radio, because it is about how we bring our families into what we do and what we're modeling, especially for our daughters, you know, to see that mom can be a mom, be a business owner, be a friend, all of the different things that you are modeling. So kudos. And it was nice to have her in the background. So I thank you so much, Maggie. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your journey with us. I really
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. And for all of you tuning in, thanks so much for being here. We're going to close out with our fabulous theme song from Smith Sisters and the Sunday Drivers. So till next time, this is Dori DeCarlo saying go out and make a marvelous you. Bye for now.
She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. Adds value and hope. Has proved to be brave. See, it's never too late. Never time to behave. Reaching for dreams. Doesn't matter the age. Believes in herself. Unleashed from her cage. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is